you'll want to make your background look interesting. Now, this is one subject we'll be spending a lot of time, a lot of tutorials about lighting your background. This is where you make your money. This will be the hardest part of your job, and likely the area that you'll have to spend the majority of your time experimenting. After you get the hang of lighting people, of course. So, after you've mastered sort of three-point lighting and making people look good, then you got to work on your background. Now, along with this will be choosing your practical light sources. Now, in this particular setup, you can't see the practical light because I'm sitting in front of it, but I actually have a little light right here that's shining some light up on my wall. I've got it scrimmed. We'll talk about scrims later. So that it's not so bright like right here, but still casts light all the way up my wall. And that's really, if you were to look at this scene in a wide shot, you'd see a little light sitting there, and that would be my practical source. When you choose your practical lighting sources, you want to kind of think about how they affect your scene and how to use them to compose your frame. Now, there's a couple things you can do. You can either adapt to your space or adapt your space to you, or a hybrid of both. Usually what determines that are things you can't control. Like if there were lights in here that I couldn't turn off, or if there was a light like outside, like I remember shooting a scene where there's a just a giant street light like right outside the window that I couldn't turn off. I couldn't get a stand high enough to put a flag in front of it to block the light that was coming in. So I had to essentially take what I wanted to do with that scene and actually build it around the fact that that light was going to be out there. And to try and source it and boost it a little bit and then adjust everything inside the room around the fact that I couldn't do anything about that light outside. So that's a case of where I had to adapt to my environment. But normally what I like to do, what all cinematographers like to do, is they like to kind of adapt everything or adapt their environment to them. And in other words, change everything, be able to control every single light source, every single practical source, every light that you bring in so that you can just sort of paint the room the way you want to paint it. Now, if you're shooting a boring looking space, how do you make that interesting? This is one of the things you want to think about. If you've got low production value, how do you mask that? Or if you have amazing production value, how do you enhance that or capture that? You'll actually probably spend the rest of your life in the pursuit of feeling totally at ease, creating interesting looking spaces to go with your well-lit characters. In the tutorials to come, I'll be experimenting with different approaches to this as sort of a primer to get your creative juices flowing. So like, I'll take this garage, which, and make it look like different spaces. I mean, I'll take it and just light it to look like a garage. And then, we'll add certain things. We'll add set pieces and different types of lighting to make it look just a little bit different character, maybe a little darker in some places, maybe a little more friendly. That's going to be most of the stuff that you're going to learn is lighting your background. But in this particular case, in three-point lighting, I have a key light, I have a fill light, I have a rim light, and I have one background light. But you can see that I've got problems over here. In these shadows here, these are going to be noisy, really noisy, because I have almost no light over in there. So that's going to read broadcast black, close to pure black. I'm going to have problems. But I'm out of lights, so if I crush this down a little bit, that noise will go away. But that's three-point lighting. I want to thank Emily and Elise and Mark and Sean for coming down and lending me a hand and helping me shoot all that stuff. I hope you learned a lot, and let's move on to the next tutorial. It's down there, so I can see it. It's waiting for you. It's right there. Actually, it might actually not be there yet, but eventually it will be. So until next time.